Oh no! Oh my god! What's happening?
Oh.
Welcome back, everyone, to the channel. I am Zach, your host here on the Yo-Bro Nation YouTube channel, and this is episode 9 of the long-awaited return of the Yo-Bro Nation podcast. Episode 9 today, talking horror movies and television, but I'm not alone. I'm here with two people, actually, today. One is a long-lost brother. His name is Seth. Say hello, Seth.
Hey, guys.
And someone who was on the channel a long time ago, and I suppose I can show you guys now. Welcome, Jake, back. Hello, Jake.
Hello, Clarice.
Jake, oh, you haven't been on here since, what, Royal Rumble last year?
Possibly even the year before, somewhere around there, yeah, somewhere.
Yeah, it's been a long... Yeah, I think it was... Yeah, like that long ago. But
before JD had a relationship, that's how long ago it's been.
Oh my, yeah. When's he getting married? He said he was getting married.
That's why I feel like 2020 is the end of the world.
No, they had 2012 backwards. It's going to be next year.
Yeah, watch.
At least I'm counting on it.
I mean, you never know. But yeah, we're just going to talk movies, man. Whatever the fuck this conversation goes. We won't have arguments and little sporadic like outbursts of Ric Flair sucks and all sorts of weird things.
Well, trust me, I can start arguments if you want arguments.
Oh, sure. Why not?
I'm good at that.
I can follow arguments if...
But yeah, we're just gonna talk movies, man. We're just gonna talk scary movies. Scary movies, television shows, the 90s, the 80s, the 70s, whatever you remember watching. Like, actually, yesterday with my soon-to-be stepchildren, I was watching Goosebumps, like really old episodes of Goosebumps, and I actually had forgot that R.L. Stine had hosted the show for the longest time.
Yeah.
I had forgot about that.
And
So
he was the guy with the suitcase in the beginning and the intro and stuff, and like it opens and the pages fly out and shit.
yeah, well, not the movie, but the show.
Yeah, that was the show. The
Was
intro.
that?
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot.
That was R.L. Stine on the intro. His suitcase opens and all the pages
Yeah,
fly out.
I had actually, we were watching the one with the terror tower or whatever, where the kids...
Tower of Terror.
That's it, yeah. When they went back in time and turned out they were like royalty or some shit.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, I forgot about
I always
this.
remember the one where the kid found the superhero in his like superhero base and stuff, and like
Yes.
stretchy arms or some shit.
Yeah.
Best episode out of all of them, though, is Say Cheese and Die, with the camera that steals your soul, basically.
God, I forgot.
See,
how
I was a
interesting
lot
that was.
younger than you guys back then, so like these were actually terrifying to me in some instances. Like the one where the pumpkin people make the kids go around trick-or-treating forever. Like, you'd think DCS or cops would figure out after 3 days of trick-or-treating on the road with a stranger to stop them.
You'd think.
You would think.
God, I don't know, but I was watching that with them last night, and then there was the one with the little girl who put on the mask, but the mask wouldn't come off. And she's like, I just want to be myself again. I just want to be myself again.
Sounds like a Twilight Zone episode.
Oh yeah, very
it's
much.
like-
I was going to
This
say,
sort of-
it's almost shades of Halloween 3, Season of the Witch.
Yes. God, I think that's such an underrated movie. I don't know about you guys. I love that movie.
It was great. It actually had a great premise. It was more of like a detective movie, too.
I was not against the anthology style that they were going for, honestly.
And
But then they found out that the moneymaker was Mike Myers, and they brought him back.
Yeah. I know.
It's kind of a shame. Like, I think they should have branched it off and made it its own thing.
They-
Did not
I think it was-
just do it not under Halloween, Halloween, but make it where it's like Halloween, but not Mike Myers.
I think they could have, had they wanted to, probably could have. If they would have just named it something other than Halloween, I think it would have been more popular.
Like Halloween Death Mask?
No, just if they could have just named it Season of the Witch.
Actually, that would have been
Not
good.
they didn't have to go with Halloween. Just call it Season of the Witch, and I think it would have been fine. I think it would have been actually quite good.
Still was good. Underrated.
I don't know, but
Very true.
so I guess I'll start with Jake since he's not been here in forever. So you said you were going to do some research or do some stuff before you got on here. So lay it on me, big boy. What do you got? What do you got?
Well, I mean, where should I start? Do you want classic horror? Do you want... Where do you want me to start? And we'll go from there.
Let's start with classic, man. Let's start with some classic horror.
Well, I mean, honestly, classic. If you go classic horror, you got to go all the Universal monster movies. You got to go Dracula, Frankenstein,
Ooh.
you know, Wolfman. You got to go Mummy, Creature from the Black Lagoon, which is always one of my favorites.
Yeah, I love that thing.
Which actually is pretty cool because last year, you know, they got the Pensacon down here in Pensacola, and I actually got to meet Rico, who was the guy that played the Creature from the Black Lagoon in the movie. So that was really awesome.
It's quite awesome, actually.
But and it's cool because I mean, even the younger generation, kids nowadays, can see movies that have taken from Creature from the Black Lagoon. For example, you have Abe Sapien from Hellboy. His character, the design of that character was a modernized design of the Creature from the Black Lagoon. So, you know, it's the same, basically the same creature, just in modern look and aesthetic.
And probably not as forceful and rapey.
Yeah, well, let's put it this way: he's come to be more human in the newer movies. It's not, I want this, so I'm going to take it. You know, kind of like they did back then. But yeah, I mean, like when you talk about the Universal monster movies, you've got the legendary actors like Boris Karloff and Lon Chaney Jr. and you know the ones that made those characters, and that people nowadays when they portray Bela Lugosi, Dracula,
Vincent Price.
Yeah, and then I mean, you look at like the movies nowadays, the horror movies that have the vampires and the werewolves and stuff like that. They all go back to the Universal monsters when they try to create their style and aesthetic for the characters. I mean, anybody that plays a Wolfman will go back and watch Lon Chaney as the Wolfman, and will do the one-legged drag behind when they're running and that kind of stuff to. Mm-hmm. Draw it back to that character. It's really cool.
I'd even go further back to like Nosferatu. Like that movie in itself has inspired a lot of things. Like with Dracula, you can look at a little more modern. If you jump into like Wes Craven's New Nightmare, there's a lot of scenes inspired by that movie itself. There was a whole movie made about the making of that movie. Like, I love that movie. I'm pretty sure it's a silent film, right? That's a silent film?
Yes. Nosferatu. It was 1932, I believe, ballpark in that area when Nosferatu came out.
What about the movie that spawned the Joker? That old, like, silent film, The Man That Laughs?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like, what year was that one? It should have been in the 1930s as well, right? Or 20s?
I'm trying to think. I don't remember the exact year that one came out, but yeah, I mean, that's when they were writing the comic. That's where they pulled that style of
character,
psychotic clown from.
Yeah. Which honestly, when they first made the Joker, like they made it a watered down version of that guy from that movie.
Pretty much.
If you saw Joker, he ain't watered down in that.
Well, not today's Joker, but
that's for sure.
The 1960s Joker.
Yeah. I don't know, but I like those movies. It's like something about those older those Universal monster movies. Something about them. I don't know. It's just like it definitely feels like a completely different era. Like just the way they were shot. They're I wouldn't say they're like mustache twirling villains or something, but there was almost like a sympathetic thing about each of those monsters.
Right. Well, they when they created the characters, like for example, Frankenstein's monster. When they created Frankenstein's monster, yes, he is the monster in the movie, but they also like humanized him by making him the victim of the townspeople that are trying to attack him because he's different. It was that movie was more a what's the word I'm looking for? Like a
symbol of change. Like
it was a symbol. That's kind of what I was looking for. It was a symbol of the times and of how people would, and even today they still do this. How people would look at something that was different.
That looks different.
Right. Would look at somebody that's different and demonize them and make them the monster or villain that they make them out to be. When actually, I mean, if you really watch Frankenstein's monster is not the bad guy in that movie. It's the townspeople. It's the people with the pitchforks and the fire that's chasing him. He wasn't the bad guy in that film, but with him being a horror monster, they make him out to be the bad guy whenever they promote any type of Frankenstein movie nowadays that they do.
I think something about those early like characters. Yes, you had your protagonists that would be in those. You would have those characters, but you always like, and I think this is something that might be lacking with like modern horror movie characters, or at least a good majority of them, is like Frankenstein had personality. Dracula had a lot of personality. Even the Wolfman had personality. They all had some form of a personality. And I feel like that's something you don't get a lot with like ones that you see nowadays. It's usually like, oh, that's the monster. We'll kill it. It comes after this. Here's your main characters. Here's the monster. It's trying to kill him. Like,
and I mean, a lot of that comes from the filmmakers nowadays pull most of their ideas and their tropes for their monsters and stuff from the slasher movies of the 80s, where, I mean, even the slasher movies of the 80s, their monsters had character.
Oh, yeah.
But they weren't focused on fleshing out the character of their monsters. They were more focused on kill count. You know, how many people can Jason kill in a movie? You know,
before someone stops him. Well, so what decade do you think it was before they stopped making sympathetic villains and then just progressed into just psychopathic killers? Because, like, you know, it was like 30s, 40s, 50s and stuff. You always had that Wolfman, your Frankenstein and stuff like that. But then there's a gap, and then, boom, Evil Dead happens, and you got fucking demons flying through the woods, possessing people, hands getting chopped off.
I would say maybe the late 60s into the 70s is when they started thinking about...
Like grindhouse films and shit?
I would even go later. I would say late 70s, early 80s is when they
yeah, you're probably... Yeah.
switched up, because early 80s is... You know, the 80s were the decade
Texas Chainsaw Massacre, wasn't that the 70s as well?
That was late 70s, yeah.
Okay, so you're right, yeah, late 70s.
You had a few of them, but they still weren't formulaic yet.
Right, and like with the late the 80s, the decade of the 80s was the decade of like everything to the max. You know, cocaine, all that other stuff. You know, it was everything to the extremes, and then that's when you
die. I guess that's a hint for wearing a condom, right?
Right. I guess you could say that if you look at probably say mid-80s, right? Mid-80s, especially like the early Universal monster movies, they had class. If that's, you know, they're monsters that kill, but they had class to them, I guess. It's weird.
No, I think the one that had class was probably Freddy Krueger, Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh,
because he was the only one that was actually elegant about it, you know? Because, like, Michael Myers, your Jason Voorhees are mindless killers. You know, like, Jason had his revenge. And Michael...
I love that guy.
But Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy Krueger was probably the most nuanced of the entire 80s when it came to killing.
I mean, he had the most personality, for sure.
Yeah, he would dance and taunt people and stuff.
Michael didn't talk.
Well, but he didn't start. The thing with Freddy, though, with Freddy, you have the first movie was a horror movie. Yeah. The first Nightmare on Elm Street was a horror film. Then, when they started letting Robert Englund put more of himself into the character,
hi Susie,
that's when you started getting the more comedic timing and the comic comedic style of Freddy, which made him even more.
Even in the first movie, he had one-liners, man. They were always quippy, very quick to the point. But it did progress to more.
Yeah, if you watch, he Robert Englund was trying to bring himself in that first film, but that he was very controlled in that first film. Whereas when you get to Nightmare on Elm Street 3, he's full on Robert Englund just in makeup. Like that's on him.
3 was Freddy's peak. 3 and 4.
Dream Warriors, man, that's a good one.
3, 4, maybe 5. That was like peak Freddy. Even though they were getting cheesier by each movie, 6 was a little too much for me. I liked Wes Craven's New Nightmare because they reined it back in, but you still had some of that flair that Robert brung to it.
And that was the thing with New Nightmare. That was Wes Craven wanting to take the character back to the roots of the first film, where he was more, I'm out to kill, not to make you laugh.
Right.
And that's part of and what I love about New Nightmare too is because it broke that fourth wall, because it was a movie with
Wes Craven in the movie talking about his character and stuff. Like, it was a trip. I actually really liked New Nightmare.
Well, and you know that like the whole premise of behind the Nightmare on Elm Street, but it was based on a true story. Like, not the killer in the dreams, but there was a college student, and it was Japan or China, one of the places, but he told his parents that he couldn't go to sleep because if he went to sleep, he would die. And he was up for like a week or two.
I remember this.
He ended up dying. And when they when they went to look in his room and stuff, he had like coffee pots plugged into the closet, and like he was doing everything he could not to go to sleep, because he said as soon as he went to sleep he was going to die, and he did that, and he did. And Wes Craven read that story and thought, this would be an amazing concept for a horror movie. And then that's where he came up with the whole premise of the slasher killer in the dream that can actually kill you in your dreams, and by doing that you die in real life.
Right. That, and he talked about when he lived in this little apartment complex when he was a kid, the guy who would walk by his window and would stare at him, and like his brother went downstairs, but the guy just like followed him around to the other side of the apartment and kept watching him. Real creepy. I don't know.
Oh yeah, the best horror movie writers pull from their lives and their, like Wes Craven always said, the things that he made horror movies about were the things that scared him in his nightmares.
Definitely. I don't know. Like, what would you say is probably your favorite like series overall or individual movie? Series of movies as far as horror is brought into it, I would say would probably be the Friday the 13th movies, just because Jason is the original slasher killer. Right. Like, he's what every person that makes a slasher movie nowadays, or that made it after the original, the third Friday the 13th movie, because everybody knows Jason wasn't the original killer. So actually, it's funny how many people don't. How many people don't understand that it was actually his mother that was the original. Revenge. Yeah, she was the original killer, and then they're like, "Hey, let's do one with Jason." Like, when he still had just the bag over his head. It wasn't until the third movie he got the mask.
Yes, third movie is when he got the iconic hockey mask, and and then of course you got the fourth movie, which it wasn't actually Jason; it was the father of the kid that was in the mental hospital that got killed by the other kid. Right. But he took the Jason like the look of Jason, so that he wouldn't be recognized. And then
the fifth one's when dead Jason finally showed up.
And you've got, like, my favorite one is Jason Lives. Yeah. Which is where you get that zombified Jason.
Yeah, and Tommy when he was reaching the peak of his arc, still trying to figure out where, because he's like, he knew he was going to still be alive, even though Tommy Jarvis, yeah, but he's actually the reason Jason did come back to life.
Yeah, he went to kill Jason to make sure he's dead, but then in doing that, he again, that's the whole Frankenstein's monster trope. He stuck Jason with an iron rod, which got struck by lightning. Same thing that brought Frankenstein back to life, brought Jason back to life. They pulled from the Friday the 13th pulled from that Universal movie, the Universal monster movie of Frankenstein, and was like, hey, we can use that to bring him back to life and carry him on through even more movies. And again, that's a movie paying homage and pulling from a movie from the past to...
Now, you can criticize me all you want, but I loved Friday the 13th, 8 and 9, because, like, 8, he goes to New York, right? And then number 9 is Jason Goes to Hell.
Yes, with Freddy's glove.
Because you get to see him get shot all to hell with a bazooka and shit.
Oh,
like,
my
it's
God.
exploded everywhere. It's like...
All right, look, okay, I don't hate 8 at all. I think 8's actually pretty okay.
My favorite
9
part of
is
that...
ridiculous.
However, it should have been Jason at Sea, not Jason Takes Manhattan, because... he's only in New York for like the last 10 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, and he just boxes that dude on the roof, and then kicks over that gang's stereo system, and they try to get Buck, and he's like, Jason, bam.
They don't even fuck with him. Man, 9's ridiculous, dude. 9 is just ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's not even Jason in that movie. It's people pretending to be Jason.
What's really cool about 9 is Kane Hodder, who plays Jason Voorhees, was a security guard at the morgue that gets killed.
Oh, yeah.
The demon of Jason. So I thought that was pretty cool that they kind of allowed him to show his face, basically.
Right. And you get, little demon baby Jason that's born and then grows into a full-grown Jason with the same tattered clothes and hair and the same mask.
They definitely went... into LSD territory for that movie, right? Somebody was heavily on drugs for that movie.
Being birthed by his dead aunt or whatever she was.
I mean, who knew his mom had a sister, right?
I mean,
it's kind of weird.
I still think it's probably
if there's a narrative to be made, I guess someone will find it.
They did Jason in space. I mean,
and I still love Jason in space, like when he's beating
Jason.
that like fake hooker in the sleeping bag, and he's just slamming her on a tree. I mean, they were more comical than they were scary.
That one,
but yeah, I still enjoyed it though.
That was the 2000s. That was 2003, I think.
Now we're talking about Friday the 13th, and we're talking about Nightmare on Elm Street and Freddy vs. Jason and all them.
We're having an interruption.
And you brought up...
you. This is Susie. That's Jake.
Hi.
Jake, Susie.
I hear lots about you.
Hopefully it's all
good. You a lot. Oh, yeah.
But to tie it all back into your film that you were talking about earlier of The Evil Dead, all 3 of those movies are tied together by the Necronomicon.
Yeah, and they had a comic book about it, and it was Freddy versus Jason versus Ash, and I read that whole series. I loved it. Loved it.
But that, like, a lot of people don't realize that all 3 of those movies and 3 of those movie series were tied together by the Necronomicon itself, and which allows for that cross promoting stuff, which is part of the reason why they had the glove.
I'm going to interrupt you for just a second. I had this idea, but I think Supernatural should do one last season, and it should be a crossover of Ash versus Evil Dead meets Supernatural.
Oh, God.
Could you imagine the Winchesters meeting fucking Ash?
Oh, that would be crazy.
That would be amazing. That would be a dream come true.
That'd be crazy. Well, we're talking a lot about movies, and you started talking about TV. What?
Talking about crossovers, and we're talking about TV and crossovers and Supernatural and everything. Did you see the crossover from the DC universe with Constantine and the Supernatural film?
Yes,
yes,
Keanu Reeves is supposed to be leading the Dark Justice League.
The Legends of Tomorrow episode where they're on the set of Supernatural and they're actually driving around Baby, I think.
Wait, they did that?
Yeah.
Yes.
I totally missed that.
Oh, yeah. You got Constantine who's wearing the trench coat, which is kind of where Castiel got the inspiration of they got the inspiration for his trench coat and his look. And yeah, they're on the set of Supernatural because one of them, I believe, is a fan of the show. So within the DC universe
Supernatural now
is
exists.
a TV show.
Wow. It's almost like when they went into that alternate realm where they realized they were just actors in the TV show.
Right, something similar to that. So
Yeah.
I suppose then maybe, I don't know, part of the
multiverse.
the multiverse and Supernatural is gone. So
Well, see,
spoilers.
There's been plans for years for them to do a horror multiverse because they've been trying to combine like the Mummy, the last movie with Tom Cruise.
Oh,
like,
the Dark Universe that
Yeah.
got canceled after the Mummy.
I know, but I was still getting excited about that because like who wouldn't be
Well, yeah,
excited?
Tom Cruise ruined that movie, so we won't even talk.
Like,
if we're
like
talking
if
about movie,
Hellraiser could
leave that one
like
alone.
connect to the Necronomicon too, you know, it's like it's all goes back to Evil Dead.
There's another movie I watched that had that book in it, but it wasn't an Evil Dead movie. It'll come to me at some point.
The Craft.
No, I don't think so. I don't know. But you mentioned you're talking about TV. So Tales from the Crypt. Who here watched that as a kid?
Yep.
Of course, now here
Should
I'm
I
going to show
lean
my
back
age.
and pop back up for the video?
I'm going to show my age. Are you ready? I watched Tales from the Crypt. I also watched Tales from the Crypt Keeper, which was the cartoon version of Tales from the
Yeah.
Crypt
I remember
from the
that.
late 80s.
I used to actually, I remember that one. And I remember watching Tales from the Crypt at his house with his older brother. They'd all go to bed. And then me and Joe would stay up watching that, almost most of the night. And they'd sneak
And then
up
me and my
watch it.
other brother would sneak up and watch it behind them if they were didn't know we were there.
Oh, we noticed most of the time, but we just didn't say
Sometimes we were pretty quiet.
that. Sometimes.
I just think you knew better to look back. You know,
It's just like, just let them do what they're going to do.
I mean, we could have caught you guys watching worse. I know me and James caught Joe watching porn once.
Oh
but
my God, that's disturbing.
It was.
What was your favorite episode? If you even have
Of
one.
Tales?
Yeah.
Well, honestly, my favorite Tales from the Crypt was actually one of the movies that they did.
Oh,
The one
really?
with Billy Crystal?
Yeah, Bordello of Blood.
Yeah.
I love that
That was
one.
a good one.
Love that.
And who knew such a good comedian could do such a good job? Like, it's okay. There's the thing. Is like I like comedians playing in scary movies because it's like they take the comical thing and it becomes psychotic. Like Jim Carrey, Robin Williams.
Oh,
Like,
yeah. They're really creepy.
Like 24-hour photo or something.
24-hour photo, 1 hour photo. And then you got, Jim Carrey, and I think it's 23.
23.
Oh my God, he's creepy in that movie. I try and imagine Chris Farley in a horror movie. Like,
It almost
holy
sounds a
moly.
little more depressing than it does scary.
Almost. There's a lot of older like horror TV shows. Like I loved Are You Afraid of the Dark? I loved watching Goosebumps. But there weren't really many others that I actually watched that I would call horror necessarily. Like I would say probably closest to horror that I really, really loved would be like ghost hunting shows. Ghost Adventures, Ghost Hunters, because that was on forever and a day.
Well,
Those-
now if you go, now here's the thing though. If you go back earlier than Tales from the Dark or Tales from the Crypt and Are You Afraid of the Dark and stuff, you had Tales from the Dark Side, which was on Sci-Fi Channel, which was a horror themed thing.
Oh yeah,
show.
I remember that now.
And you had oh crap, they remade it into a movie with Johnny Depp as the lead character.
I think I know what you're
From Hell?
No, that is a good movie though, by the way.
That is a good movie.
If you haven't seen that movie, I suggest that you watch it because it's a great movie.
definitely.
What is it?
The only TV show I know Johnny
is
Depp
it-
from is 21 Jump Street.
Is it the one where he's the writer?
That's Secret Window. That's another good one.
Oh, that shit, I don't remember.
You stole my story. Yeah.
Shit, I don't know. I'm trying to remember.
Hang on. I'm gonna have to IMDb it now because it's gonna drive me nuts.
Okay, while you're IMDbing though, like my favorite horror movie from all of the 90s, because I think it was 91, the first one with Tim Curry.
1990. It was a TV miniseries. Oh
Yeah,
my
yeah,
god,
yeah.
I love it.
And it was amazing because, like, I wasn't sure if it was the TV miniseries or if it was a TV movie, but
Yeah.
I figured it was TV. But, like, Tim Curry, another example of a really good comedian playing a really creepy person.
Oh yes.
I heard he was so creepy on set, like, because he would not be out of character, that no one wanted to be around him.
Well, he did that, but see, he did that because he was working with child actors, and in order to keep the child actors in fear of the character and for them to be better in the film, he wanted them to actually fear Pennywise. So that's why he didn't break character when he was in Pennywise look, because he wanted to, really strike fear into them. That's just like with
Pennywise to me seems like if Willy Wonka decided to eat the kids that went into his factory.
Willy Wonka was a horror movie, and you can't convince me otherwise. When they're going through that fucking tunnel,
oh god,
Dark
it's like an
Shadows.
acid trip.
That was it.
What was it?
Dark Shadows is the one that Johnny Depp remade the movie.
Yeah,
But that was a TV show in the 70s.
And it actually was scary back then?
And it was a horror TV show. Barnaby Collins, which is the character that Johnny Depp plays in the movie, he was a vampire. And in the 70s, it was a very black. They filmed it in black and white, made it very eerie and very.
I actually remember that now.
But that was another good one that of course, got PC'd up whenever they turned it into a Johnny Depp movie. But yeah, there was another TV show, a horror TV show, and then of course you've got the sitcoms that played off of horror that were more for comedy and everything, like The Munsters and The Addams Family and that kind of stuff.
Dun-dun-dun-dun. Dun-dun-dun-dun. Oh my gosh. So let's talk about I guess some horror classics like The Shining. I love The Shining.
Shining is amazing.
The Shining, yes.
I do like the new sequel that they came out with it.
Oh, Dr. Sleep?
Yeah.
It was okay. Haven't seen it.
Dude, it's okay. Like, it's a great adaptation. It wasn't as good as I hoped it would be, but it kind of brought out into public some things that I think are actually going on. Like, it's a conspiracy shit. But
yeah, like I said, I haven't seen
prepare to
that
put your
one.
tinfoil hat on.
What is that movie? Shoot, I had a brain fart. But there's a lot of movies. Actually, okay, so I'll go ahead and ask the room and get an opinion. Found footage movies. Blair Witch obviously was what really started that, but then you had the Paranormal Activity movies. How we feel about those?
I'm not into those. I am not superstitious in the least bit, and I could give a shit less for paranormal movies and stuff. It's like someone's being dragged across by nothing, and there it's like there's a string somewhere. Like I don't get it. Although I think I lived in a haunted house once, and I did start preparing. Like I would put stuff on the floor, so it's like reverse ghost psychology. They throw it back on the shelves. Maybe.
At least that's what he told his parents when he didn't want to clean his room.
Yeah.
My mom never would fall for that. I get my ass beat.
She'd stop. Shut up, stupid.
As far as found footage films, I'm a fan to a point. Like the original Blair Witch, I was a fan of that one because it was something that had never been done before. They set the precedent for it. The original Paranormal Activity, I thought was good. Now, when they got to Paranormal Activity 32 or whatever one they're on now, it's kind of taking it overboard. However, I have a friend. I'll go ahead and mention his name, and I might be able to get you an interview with him for the podcast if you'd like. Okay. His name's Jed Bryan, and he wrote and directed a found footage horror film it's like top 10 on Amazon and everything in the horror movies right now. It's called Unlisted Owner. And they filmed it in my hometown. They filmed it in this creepy house that we all grew up around. But yeah, his name's Jed Bryan. I definitely, if you're a fan of the found film footage, definitely check out that movie. It's called Unlisted Owner. And
I'm gonna go check that out.
So, do you know that movie? It's kind of under the same thing and stuff, but it's about this guy that says he wants to be a serial killer. So they're documenting this guy training.
yeah, it's Behind the Mask: The Rise of Leslie Vernon.
Yes, that's it. I really like that one because like it was actually a surprise when he just literally starts slashing people. They're like, "Oh shit, he's serious! Oh god!"
Well, and the thing is, like, with what I like about that movie, because I saw that movie when it first came out, and a lot of people didn't because it was a B-rated movie. You know, what I loved about Behind the Mask is it starts out as a comedy. It starts out as he's this documentary crew is following him to find out what he's doing to become the next slasher killer and everything. And then towards the end of the movie, spoiler alert, towards the end of the movie, he flips the switch and you find out that he's actually been hunting the documentary crew the whole time and not the kids that he was showing them that he was hunting.
Right.
And then it becomes an actual horror movie. So they did a really great job with that film. So if you ever get a chance to check that one out, definitely check that one out. Another good film that a lot of people don't know about that you should check out that's a good horror movie is called Perfume, The Diary of a Murderer. And it's set back in the 17th or 18th century. And it's about this kid that wants to be a perfumist, somebody that makes perfumes and stuff. And he's in search of the perfect scent. And to get this perfect scent, he realizes that he has to kill these women and boil them down to their essence and bottle their essence. And at the very end of the film, he finally gets the perfect scent and he pours some on him, and people rip him apart because they want a piece of this scent.
Wow.
It's a great horror movie. It's awesome because it's set in like the 17th, 18th century, which a lot of horror movies aren't set back in those times, which for those of you out there that are listening to this that are writers and directors, there needs to be more horror movies set in different times.
Yes.
Not the 80s and the 90s, but actually like 17th century and before.
Especially when superstitions were actually really serious, too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean
definitely. To see the perspective of someone who back then, like when they actually believed in that, like the really religious people, like you see that sort of in The Witch. You kind of get that, like they're very like, oh, it's the devil or whatever, but maybe something not as over the top as that movie was. Maybe something a little reeled back, but I could go for something like that. Something set in like the 1800s.
Because back
England.
then it's like it was before lights and shit anyways. People were always by lamplight. It always looks creepy no matter what you're doing.
Maybe something like a movie when the settlers were first getting here.
I mean, look at Sleepy Hollow.
Like, okay,
Yes.
okay,
It's like-
Sleepy Hollow I think is an underrated movie. That is another good Johnny Depp movie.
Johnny Depp wasn't crazy.
Still, it was good. I mean, how many people get to ride on a horse and throw their fucking head at people?
Have either of you ever seen the movie Hell House?
Yes.
Wait,
Hell House? It's a found footage movie about a haunted house attraction. And it's showing like basically when
They actually released a sequel last year, didn't they, for that?
there's like 1 or 2 sequels, and I think they're doing a 4th sequel actually. But it's actually really good for a found footage movie. They don't show you a lot in the movie. It's just like things subtly moving. It's really good. You should definitely check that shit out.
there was this. It's based on a video game. It's not like Resident Evil or something, but it's like a.
Silent Hill.
No, wasn't that either. But first Silent Hill was really good. No, it was like something dead. They get stuck on an island. It's like in the swamp areas or whatever, and then it's like I remember some Asian bitch just finds like a machine gun out of nowhere and kicks ass. And
Huh.
I need to look that up. I need to look that
know
up.
what he's talking about.
Hey,
I'm
have
gonna
you
look
seen the
this
new
up.
Fantasy Island?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a good one too.
I wasn't really that into it. I gotta be honest.
Watch it again. Watch it again, but don't watch it as so much as a horror film, but as a like trope of horror movies, and you'll enjoy it a bit more.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of the decades so far, but we stopped at the 90s. Let's start talking about the 2000s era.
Oh man.
There are some good horror movies in the 2000s. I thought Saw, the first Saw movie, I thought was one of a kind.
Until they made more.
Until they made more, yes.
And each one retcon one thing.
And the second
timed
one,
in
though,
no time.
the worst part about the second one was when they pushed that chick in the pit of all those needles. That I just hate
Ooh,
needles.
that scene makes me squirm.
Yeah, it makes me
Oh,
squirm.
it makes me squirm.
God.
Because you're like, she
Hey.
can't move. Anywhere she moves, she's getting stabbed with dirty needles.
But here's the thing. You said that makes you squirm. That's what a horror movie's supposed to do.
Oh, I know.
So that
It did
movie's
its
doing
job.
its
Dude,
job.
we forgot Candyman. Or
Oh, yeah.
I love Candyman. We didn't even talk about The Omen. We could talk about The Omen. We could talk about Candyman. Like, The Omen, the first Omen still creeps me out.
You really want to be creeped out? Go
Misery.
Go YouTube.
Misery really creeped me out because that's something that could legitimately happen. Like
Oh,
someone
I
that stalks
love
you,
Kathy
kidnaps
Bates.
you, and then just like, dude, the sledgehammer scene to the ankles. I saw that when I was like 5 years old, and I was traumatized. I could not take that.
I will put this out there right now. I love Kathy Bates, and she played that part to a T in that movie.
She really did.
She's still killing it. Like, on American Horror Story, she's still
Oh yeah,
killing it.
oh yeah.
I think that would be a modern horror movie or horror TV show that I think is really well. Like, they've had a couple bad seasons. Like, I watched Apocalypse that season. It was iffy for me, but she still stand out in that whole
Asylum, the second one, I did not like. It was like the camera angles they did was not equal to the first season, and it just seemed tacky and tasteless. I just couldn't
Here's
get
the
into
thing, though. The reason that they have the messed up camera angles in Asylum, and the camera angles
it wasn't
that are
that it was
off
messed
kilter
up,
and
though.
stuff.
It just seemed cheesy.
Well,
Like
it
C-movie cheesy.
It
Not
wasn't so
even
much
B.
cheesy, but what they did with the reason that they were doing that with the different camera angles for Asylum is they wanted you to feel the anxiety of being in an asylum, they want you to have that feeling.
I got no anxiety from these looks and angles. Like, I got just constant annoyance, and I'm like, why? Like, if they followed the first season, and I really haven't watched much. Honestly, the second season ruined all of American Horror Story for me.
Freak Show is my favorite.
Go keep going, man. Freak Show's really good. Hotel was
good.
It had its moments.
If you know the history behind Hotel, that's another thing. American Horror Story, every one that season that they do is based off of a true story.
Well,
For instance, Hotel was based off of H.H. Holmes in Chicago.
Yeah.
So like
murder hotel.
Roanoke, they did one on Roanoke.
the
didn't
Roanoke
they?
colony that just
So
vanished.
that vanished. They did one.
That's
Right.
actually one of my favorite seasons. I didn't like the season where they did the whole presidential election in 2016. I don't like that season. What, Holt, is that one?
Yeah.
Did not like that one at all.
And again, they were playing on people's fears
Go use the bathroom real quick.
Sure.
with politics and everything. So that's the whole reason why they did that one was to play on the people's fears. But yeah, I mean, it's like, to me, American Horror Story is probably right now the best TV show going as far as horror goes.
Probably, yeah.
However, I'm gonna throw another one into the hat that just debuted this year. Lovecraft Country.
Oh, yes. Yes. That's actually really
I've
good.
watched the first 2 episodes and I am hooked. So I hope that they keep putting that through because that is amazing.
I'm like the 3rd episode, and I won't really get into it because I don't want to spoil it for anyone who's not watched it yet. But
Watch it.
definitely go find it. What is that on? Is that
Amazon Prime.
That's what I was thinking. Amazon, yeah. God, it's good though.
And it's based off a book. So if anybody wants to read the book, go find Lovecraft Country, the book, and
Yes.
you can read that.
So-
Or it's also on Audible if you want to just listen to them. So have somebody else read the book to you.
Right. So he's talking about the 2000s. Final Destination.
First one's okay. Second one's okay. After that, no.
Yeah. Well, I like the last one. I'm guessing it's going to actually be the last one, where it loops back around to the beginning of the first one on the plane. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Spoiler. Sorry. I thought that was kind of cool, but yeah, The kills get inventive, but
when they started playing it mostly for the 3D, I'm like, you're killing me.
right. I don't know. It's one of those, like Saw, it just kept going way past its expiration date. Saw still trying to keep going because they did Jigsaw, and then they're coming up with another movie.
Yeah, they're getting ready to do another one.
You could say, because it's another 2000s movie. The Paranormal Activities, they've kept going. Like, I know Jason, Friday, the Michael movies, all of them have multiple sequels. I actually enjoy the fact that they've rebooted Halloween. I thought Halloween 2018 was pretty good.
Okay. I'm gonna throw my name or my thing in the hat for this one. The original Rob Zombie reboot of Halloween,
I like that.
Was good. The sequel, where it's Michael Myers' mother because he had to find a way to put baby in the damn movie.
Yes. Like, oh my god, I can't have a movie and my wife not be in it. He could have just done flashbacks.
That was like, I'm like, no, that's Jason Voorhees whose mother is making him kill people. It's not Michael Myers.
I was actually watching a review about that, and that's what they said. Oh, look, he managed to turn Michael Myers into Jason Voorhees.
Is it bad to eat on the podcast?
Do what you need to, man.
Now, if you want to talk Rob Zombie movies that have been good, first of all, R.I.P. Sid Haig. But
yes,
Free from Hell was a great sequel to Devil's Rejects.
True, I agree.
I still haven't seen it.
What about the 32 something?
31, I think is what it's called.
That's not bad, actually. That's a good, like, I know he uses that revolving door of people that he uses in his movies. Like, his wife, of course, is in all his movies and will be. It's his wife. Okay, I get it.
Somebody's got to keep her getting a paycheck.
Right.
So what's the guy that plays the brother in the House of a Thousand Corpses 2? Sherry Moon
Bill
Zombie?
Lumsley.
Yes. Okay.
He also played Chop Top in Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah.
I was gonna bring up Repo the Genetic Opera. It wasn't like total horrorish, like scary, but it was still good. And I like the atmosphere it gave.
If we're going operatic horror movies, then you got to have Sweeney Todd in that discussion.
Love
Sweeney Todd was really good. Man, Johnny Depp does really good.
He's got a great voice in that movie. That's one of his more subdued
roles. And Sacha
roles.
Baron Cohen played the opposite barber that he kills.
Oh yeah,
old fucking Borat.
Hello, I'm Borat.
Who has a new movie on Amazon now?
I know. I haven't watched it.
I trim it to beard. I shave it to face.
Oh, so there's a lot of really good horror movies we could talk about, obviously. Let's talk about some bad ones. Some bad ones that are so bad we actually like them.
Okay.
Okay, Seth's got something here.
I remember one about, like, it was an 80s B movie, and it was like a gigantic tick. Or no, the killer bunnies.
Oh, ooh.
And the Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
Oh,
Killer
God.
Zombies from
don't
Space.
Talk bad about Attack of Killer Tomatoes.
I love Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, but I also remember the Killer Bunny ones because it was
How about Eight-Legged Freaks?
Oh my goodness, that's so bad.
Or Zombievers.
Oh God, I love Zombievers.
Piranha 3D 4, whatever that is, the Piranha movies.
Okay, so
Now,
it's borderline bad, but it's good. Slither.
it's okay.
I love Slither. I thought Michael Rooker did a great job in that.
I've got a couple of them. My first one is Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Yep.
Love it.
I love it. That fucking movie. It is stupid as hell.
I still want a popcorn gun.
Yes.
Or I want to not see a clown knock a dude's head off his shoulders. It was like, oh, you want to buy, Stan?
Oh my God. That movie. Cocoons made of cotton candy full of blood and guts. It's just, it's so weird. You bust their nose and they die. I don't know. I don't know what to go
For all you young kids out there listening to this podcast, go watch Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Do it. It is a highly recommended movie, and I watch that every year around Halloween.
The first Gremlins movie was actually scary.
Yeah, but it wasn't a bad movie. It was a good movie.
True.
The second Gremlins movie was amazing. The acting was horrible, but it was amazing.
Another one that's a bad movie that I love is Chernobyl Diaries.
Never seen it.
It's got Jesse McCartney in it. Not Jesse McCartney. He sang music. I can't remember his name. But he's in it.
Jesse Carter.
Jesse Carter. Thank you. He's in it. It's a good movie. It's a bad movie, but it's entertaining. They kind of take the idea of The Hills Have Eyes with the nuclear waste turning people.
Great horror movie, by the way.
Yes, it is.
Hills Have Eyes. Go watch that one as well.
Yes. But they're like these cannibalistic mutants that are attacking them in the middle of Chernobyl, where they're like, not only are they trying to keep these things from killing them, but they're trying to get themselves out of there, plus try to keep from being infected with toxic nuclear crap. Like it's something, and it's got such cheesy lines, and it's just it's like you can see what's coming a mile away, but you just can't help but be like, man, I could watch this again.
Here, I'll help you out. Anything from Trauma.
Yeah. Right?
Any Trauma film, no matter what it is, any Trauma film is horribly bad but good at the same time.
What other ones has Trauma done then? Because I don't recognize that name.
Toxic Avenger.
He did Toxic Avenger?
Okay. Yeah, Trauma.
Right.
Trauma films is Toxic Avenger. You have Trauma High. You have.
Who did Reanimator?
I really like that, and Lawnmower Man.
Oh my god,
Lawnmower Man. I love that one. It was kind of like, I felt like that was a bit of a rip-off of Hellraiser.
That's a movie I haven't watched in years.
The first Lawnmower Man was good. The second one was horrible.
I liked it though. I couldn't help myself. I thoroughly enjoyed it. There was a second one though. I can't remember seeing it.
Yeah, it was Job Returns.
Oh god. So we talked a little bit about the 2000s. We really got in depth a lot with the 80s, I think. More in depth than we have anything. The 90s, man. The 90s was an up and down year for horror. Like the first half of the 90s was like kind of crap. And then you get from like 96 with Scream.
It was like the transition of the early, it was like the old school 80s graphics transitioning into the newer CGI of the later 90s and early 2000s. So it was like a transition phase, and that it was a little weird, but still, there's things it's weird. It's like if I went back and watched a scary movie from 95, I don't think I'd be scared.
Probably not.
Just because the graphics are like, yeah. But it's weird because I can still watch Evil Dead, and the graphics from Evil Dead is like, I still get chills.
Evil Dead, but Evil Dead is Evil Dead.
It was a good fucking movie.
Evil Dead is Evil Dead. You can't help but love that shit.
It's actually, that is my favorite scary movie.
Here's the issue that I have with, you're talking about Scream. Scream was good. It was a throwback to the slasher films. It kind of broke the fourth wall because you had the characters in there that knew
it's the
horror movie tropes. But then you had everybody and their brother trying to make money off of that style. So you had I Know What You Did Last Summer come out. And you had
Jennifer Love, huge tits.
Urban Legend was pretty good.
Yeah, and that's another one that was playing off Screen.
What was the other one where it was like Species or something?
Oh, Species? Oh my god, that's just to me a bad movie.
Bloody Mary was another one that was horrible.
Yeah, I got a Haji copy of that when I was in Iraq.
What year did Angel Heart come out?
Angel Heart?
You remember that one? That was like a mind trip more than anything. Psychological
remember
thriller.
That, but I don't know.
Because I remember my mom forbid me and James ever watch that. And I watched it anyways. Oh wait, no, okay. You remember when James told on himself about watching Chainsaw Massacre? We went over
which
to
one?
Well,
there's only been like.
Well, we never saw the first one. We also got to watch Last House on the Left right after it.
Yeah.
But my mom specifically said, you are not allowed to watch that scary movie. me and James watch it with a friend at a friend's house, and then we come home the next day. He's like, Mom, we watched Texas Chainsaw Massacre, blah, 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 and Last House on the Left. And I'm like, why are you telling on us right now?
James was an idiot. That's
And he's
why.
the only one that got grounded.
Like, I don't know, Scream for me, like, Scream holds a special place in my heart, because, like, me and his brother, we watched the shit out of that movie. And
They loved it.
his girl was Neve Campbell, my girl was Jennifer Love Hewitt.
So it was always a constant war of Scream versus who, like, I know what you did last summer.
I just,
Honestly, Jennifer Love Hewitt was way hotter.
there were so many, like, just redundant horror movies in the 90s. Like,
That's true.
I watched them all because I was a horror fiend. Like, that was just my thing.
I did like Urban Legend, though.
Urban Legend's okay. What is that one with the brother and the sister that are kind of... I can't think of the name of it. I just hit a wall. I have a brain fart.
The brother and the sister and their...
They're kind of doing it.
Are you sure it's not the son and the mom and it's like the
That would
Skinwalkers?
that would be Cruel Intentions.
Thank you. My gosh, my brain just...
Oh,
went bad.
okay. Yeah, there's Cruel...
And
Was Cruel
Skinwalkers,
Intentions
by the
was
way, is a
scary-
great movie.
Skinwalkers is a great movie. And people don't realize the guy that played the main Skinwalker played in Charmed as the angel dude.
Really?
Yeah, he was the main evil dude in Skinwalkers. Because
Yeah, the one that
when his
plays,
mom got murdered, Ron
Buckingham
Perlman
Husband.
was the cop in it.
Wow. I didn't
Yeah.
even realize.
Now, if you want a horror TV series from the 80s that Ron Perlman was in, you have Beauty and the Beast.
Oh, yeah.
The 80s TV
Oh,
series.
wait, or when they did it was the sequel to Oz, Wizard of Oz, the 80s version, where Alice, is it Alice? Wait, what was her name?
Dorothy?
Dorothy goes back to Oz, and it's like, it starts out, she's in a mental institution, and they're
Yeah,
doing
that was really...
experiments on
That
her
was
and shit.
creepy.
Like, I thought that was actually, like, I don't know if they were intending for that to be a scary movie, but it was actually pretty fucked up.
You want to know a bad scary movie? A bad scary movie
What's that?
that was a sequel to an actual good movie was Carrie 2: The Rage in 1999, I think
Yeah.
it was.
That
Hey,
was
now
pretty terrible.
the tattoo was pretty awesome, though.
Yeah. Okay. It is scariest movie season, so I got to talk about this one. Craft. I love Craft.
The Craft was good.
Yes.
I can't deny that.
I really hope that
The
the
remake?
sequel, it's not a remake anymore.
Oh, it's not?
They rewrote it. It is now going to be a sequel, not a remake, for The
The
Craft.
Craft Legacy.
Oh, so are the girls going to be any way related to the ones from the first one?
I mean, I haven't seen anything solid yet,
It comes out
but
this
I
month.
have a feeling that there is something that ties them into the original sister or coven, basically.
That movie was just a trip. Like, the last 20 minutes of that movie is just a complete trip. Like, but I like it. I enjoyed the movie. So,
Yeah. Strangers was a good one from the 2000s.
Strangers? I actually liked Strangers. I don't think The Purge is really a horror movie,
No.
but a modern movie that I think I really actually do enjoy would probably be Sinister. The first one. I did not like the second one. The first one is not necessarily scary as much as it's just like this psychological trip you're taking. Like, it really messes with your psyche, and it really has you thinking, like, okay, is this something paranormal, or is it just a person who's really getting away with things? Like, I don't know, something about that movie I love.
Another one.
I
If
gotta
you want
find
to
that
go
Willem
with
Dafoe movie real quick. I'll be just...
another one, if you want to go with the what am I trying to say? The Saw type movies. You have Hostel.
Hostel's the first
good.
one was pretty good.
Oh, God. You saying that makes me think of Human Centipede.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
good
No.
God.
I want to talk about Human Centipede.
no.
That was
First
the
of all,
best, most hilarious,
first of all,
scary movie I've
disclaimer.
ever seen in my life. When they were like, they are going to put them ass to mouth.
Disclaimer: do not watch Human Centipede.
No, don't. No.
If you want a good laugh, you should.
And remember, you never go ass to mouth.
Also,
Unless it's a human centipede.
Also, disclaimer, and this is for everybody, you guys included. Do not watch the Serbian film.
Ooh. Oh, I've know that one. It's too late. And it is so fucked up. I almost could not finish that movie. I really could.
That movie is horrible. And I mean, not horrible as in a horribly made movie. That movie is horrible as in topic.
It's just fucking horrible.
That, like, do not.
There's not a lot of things that I can't watch, and that movie pushed my boundaries to the limit.
That movie is like the horror movie version of Two Girls, One Cup. Don't do it.
And the one that I'm looking for with Willem Dafoe, like, that's second next to that for me. And because it's like just watching his wife smash his dick in with a rock while he's coming, and it's like blood and everything's coming out. I'm like, oh god, I can't handle this. Because I can almost
and this
feel
podcast just took a turn for the worst.
I mean, would that not be terrifying to get your dick smashed in with a rock while you're orgasming?
That's
for all you horror movie fans out there.
It's
if you do want a good William Dafoe horror movie, you should watch The Lighthouse.
Yes.
I've never seen The Lighthouse.
Oh, watch it, dude. It's in black and white. It's awesome. It's just him.
William Dafoe and Robert Pattinson in that film.
Wow.
Yes, folks, the same Robert Pattinson that glows or that sparkled in daylight in Twilight. Those two in that film were freaking amazing. Mm-hmm. If you get a chance, watch The Lighthouse.
I'm gonna check that out.
Yeah.
Is it on Netflix?
No, not yet.
Product placement?
You could probably...
Do you have Amazon Prime? I know it's on Amazon Prime.
I'm going to have to annoy my adopted brother for it.
Yeah, it's on there and for free right now, so you can watch it on there.
Watch it.
I'll probably just illegally bootleg it.
I mean, you want a good quality film.
Sorry, government.
Ixnay on the Oopensnay.
We don't pirate anything here.
What? I didn't say that.
We pay for all films that we would watch.
Yeah, of course I do.
Right? Yes. Goodness gracious. Did you ever see It Follows?
Yes. Great film.
Oh, beautifully done. Imagine having a one-nighter and then something stalking you to kill you.
And the only way you can survive is by having sex with somebody else, because then it goes after them first. But once it kills them, then it comes back to you. So, yeah. Good luck. May the odds be ever in your favor.
Now I'm starting to think of, like, the 2010s, like, scary movies and stuff, like the ABCs of Death. Yeah. I actually kind of like, there's, like, every letter, like, some letters were not that great, but some were. VHS.
I liked VHS.
VHS was really good.
It's an anthology film, and it's really enjoyable. Or Trick or Treat is another really good anthology film.
Oh, with the little Sammy boy?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really, really good.
Terrifier. Now, look, hear me out with this movie, Terrifier. I don't know if you all have seen this movie.
Never even heard
of
it.
And they're making a sequel, by the way.
Yes, I'm so freaking ready. I'm on that. I'm going to review both of them.
You need to sit me down and have me watch these.
It's on Netflix.
Terrifier?
It is, and it is...
Is it actually good?
I wouldn't know if good is the term, but it's for sure entertaining. It's definitely a B horror movie. Now, the clown that's in it, he's in another movie. But he's not the main character. He just kind of like pops up throughout the film.
So they kind of made that like a spin-off of it. So this movie is a spin-off of another that he was in.
Kind of. I'm not going to give you too much because honestly, and I'm sure he's seen it.
Just go watch the movie.
Yeah.
Right
yeah.
now.
Do the reaction.
Podcast. Go watch the movie.
Spoilers do not bother me at all.
No,
they don't ruin surprise for me either.
You don't understand. This movie is fucked up.
So you like probably can't.
We're talking 2010 movies. I'm gonna name one that's a remake and in my opinion is probably one of the most underrated. The original is one of the most underrated horror slasher films that flips the switch. The film I'm talking about is I Spit on Your Grave.
Oh, that was really good.
I'm
Now,
glad they
you have
toned
to-
it down.
And Drag Me to Hell. That was...
Now, I Spit on Your Grave. If you've seen the 2010 version, you need to go back and watch the original 1970 version.
You need to
Okay.
understand, though, going into that movie, what you're getting into. It is
Yes.
not a movie to take lightly. It will mess with you. It will mess with you. The content that's in that movie, it's toned down a lot in the 2010 version.
Yeah, and that's saying something if you've seen the 2010 version.
It's kind of like Last House on the Left. The remake they did was also toned down from the original.
Yeah, but this movie has the R word involved in it
Oh,
multiple times
I thought you
throughout
were
the
going to
movie.
say retard.
No. That R word, and it's multiple times in this movie.
Wow.
Yes, but what I love about that movie, and again, the subject matter is very sensitive, but if you are a fan of slasher films and a fan of horror movies, it is one that you definitely need to watch because, again, it flips the switch on slasher films and horror movies because it's not a male killer that's going after all these females. It's a female killer that's going out for revenge, and the stuff that she does to the people that wronged her, let's just put it this way, I would not put that stuff on my worst enemy.
Yeah.
That's pretty
Some
brutal.
involves a razor blade, and that's all I'm going to say, but just go watch that movie.
So, what did you think about Cabin in the Woods?
I thought it was good. I thought it was good for what it was. It was not a horror movie. It was a comedy, but it was
It had its moments, though.
a film that was made to pay homage and kind of laugh at the same time at horror tropes. You know, oh, well, they've got to choose their own fate. Oh, well, if we pump this gas into them and make them stupider so they split up, you know, it toyed with everything that's wrong in a horror movie and everything that's right in a horror movie in a very good way. So it's definitely one that's worth watching.
Very entertaining. Okay, so I want to talk about this movie because I'm actually going to be talking about this movie actually super soon. But I want to talk about it here for those who don't maybe get a chance to watch it later. I want to talk about the original Exorcist. Now, I don't know who all has seen it here. I have. And
I have.
I don't know. Do you think The Exorcist is as scary as people put out there?
Honestly, for
Yes.
me, no, because I'm not superstitious. It kind of goes along with that. I mean,
Yes and no.
someone that's actually psychotic and not demonically possessed is kind of terrifying. But how can you tell the difference? Especially for me, that I'm not superstitious. To me, that just looks like someone that's psycho.
But here's the thing, and you don't have to be superstitious, but go watch the documentary about all the crap that happened while they were filming that movie.
That
All the
director
people that died making The Exorcist.
There's people that
stories-
died making it.
Yes, the story. It's just like The Omen. There's people that died making The Omen.
Yeah, actually, I would recommend this. Get Shudder. It's a freaking streaming platform for horror movies and
Yeah,
horror
I've heard of
television shows.
Shudder.
They got this show like the most cursed horror films or something, like top cursed
Yes.
horror films or whatever.
Watch that.
It is amazing. They're only like 25, 30-minute long episodes, but it's so worth it. They talk about The Omen. They talk about The Exorcist. They talk about Poltergeist. They talk about a lot of
Poltergeist
them.
is one of my
My
favorites.
God, I love that movie, and it's
Not to
such
be
a tragic
not to be
story.
confused with Poultrygeist.
That,
Poultry guy.
or wait, no, Thanksgiving. Have you ever heard of Thanksgiving?
That's
Talking about
well,
D-rate
same
movies or
lines
whatever.
as
Gobble
Poultrygeist.
gobble, motherfucker.
Yeah.
I love that one. I'm about to stuff you, bitch.
Oh my God.
That just came out of nowhere. I'm sorry.
But there's something about The Exorcist, man. I don't know. It does kind of scare me. I could watch it by myself, middle of the night, completely dark, with 666 wrote all over the room. I could probably handle it just fine.
Well, see, like I remember,
But it's just
It makes me not want pea soup though.
I remember the Twilight Zone movie when it came out, and about the woman babysitting the kid and the family and stuff, and she gets trapped, and the kid has the powers. Like that fucked with me a little bit. I was like, shit, would I have turned out that way if I had that?
Probably.
I don't know. Leprechaun. Need I say anything else? No, Leprechaun in the Hood. There you go.
First of all,
That is awesome.
Warwick Davis is freaking amazing.
Yep.
Yeah. Did you ever see Leprechaun Origins?
It sucked.
I saw the Leprechaun in Space too.
What?
Yeah, they did. It was like Jason.
Yeah, Leprechaun in
Voorhees
Space. If you like Leprechaun in the Hood, watch Leprechaun in Space. It is hilarious.
Goodness gracious. I guess I could say I hadn't seen that one. I thought I'd seen them all. I put Leprechaun kind of on the same plane as I do Child's Play. Like, after the first movie just gets so... Like, at least Chucky never went to space.
The newer ones that they've been doing, I heard, were pretty good.
The remake of Child's Play, do not even get me started. Somebody needs to find whoever directed that and kick them in the penis.
Did Mark Hamill do the voice of Chucky?
He did. He did in the new one. So Joker's voicing Chucky in the new one, yes.
And it's a shame they did a terrible job.
The fact that they made... Have you seen it yet, Zach?
Yes, I have.
The spoiler alert, folks. The fact that they took it from it being a doll that a devil-worshipping murderer put his soul into, to making it a doll that was tweaking out because the person that programmed the damn thing decided to take away all of its protocols pissed me the hell off, because it totally not like, I mean, if I want to see something like that, I watch Smart House.
It takes away the personality.
Well, it's like how they've done
Chucky
the Annabelle
was all
movies.
Personality.
Yeah, it was like the little doll version of Robert Englund. You know,
it was stupid. Gosh, no. See, now I'm mad because I hate that movie.
Yes, I was really upset with the remake.
I don't feel bad for any of the children in that movie. I definitely don't feel bad for the mother. She's kind of meh. Like, just no. I don't feel sympathetic. It's just a fucking doll that's possessed. The thing with Chucky was the fact that he was a person trapped, and the whole premise was him trying to get out of this body. That's why he was doing what he was doing, and he had personality.
Okay, so when it comes to remakes or reboots, what would you say is like your top 3 of actual decent remake of scary movies?
Ooh.
Remake or reboot, but it's a of something.
I'm
Friday the 13th.
The one with Jared
3.
Padalecki from Supernatural?
Part 3, and then the Friday the 13th remake where it starts out as Jason. In it was like 2000 something, where he goes to find his sister and finds her in the cave.
Yeah, the one in 2009.
Yeah, that was the one with Jared Padalecki from Supernatural.
Yeah, it was actually not that bad.
That was a decent
and also
remake.
Jensen Ackles did that My Bloody Valentine.
Yeah, the one 3D. I didn't like that.
I was going to say My Bloody Valentine was a great remake. The original and the remake are both equally amazing.
Okay.
He's got one more. Oh.
The last one would Evil Dead. The remake.
Actually, yeah, the remake of Evil Dead was amazing.
Evil Dead. I thought they did really well.
Is it a remake though? Because you do see Ash at the very, 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 very end.
It is okay. It's a reboot.
I did say remake and reboot, so that does count.
Would it be a requel?
Kind of, yeah. I guess that's what it would be. But they are also talking. Last I heard, anyway, Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell are talking about doing another actual sequel to the Evil Dead franchise.
That would be great because I was a fan of the TV show a lot.
I do like
Yeah,
it.
TV show is good.
And it's like the TV show had obviously the aspects of comedy and stuff, but there were some moments that were actually pretty fucking scary.
Yeah.
Like when Ash
Finding
was
out that Ash
acting
had a
evil.
kid. Oh my god.
Oh, yeah. Spoilers. Spoilers.
Oh, I have a daughter.
I mean, that's scary. That's
Oh, my
scary.
goodness.
Somebody slept with Ash.
Oh my gosh.
That's
So
scary.
okay, so you said 3. Okay, these might be considered a cheat, but I actually prefer this is a television miniseries, but I actually prefer the Shining television miniseries
There was a
over
Shining
the
miniseries?
yeah. It had the dude from Wings in it.
See, I don't think anybody can play that character as good as Jack Nicholson though.
Jack in that is good, better than the one in the miniseries. But I think with the miniseries, they're able to dive into more of what the story's about. You get more than just what you get in those 2 hours. That's why I think I like it more. Then I would probably see. It's tough. I'm definitely gonna go with It. I like the first It and It Chapter 2 better than I do the miniseries. Because I think Pennywise is just more frightening.
It's amazing, but I don't know, something about Tim Curry just.
He's definitely there, but I just think Skarsgård did better. And oh my god, that's a dude into a butt.
Jesus Christ.
I don't know if I had to pick a third one. This is a very unpopular. Well, no, I wouldn't. You said one that we like, or one that you think is better.
It's just in your top 3 of remakes or reboots.
Okay, good.
Or requels.
Because I definitely don't think this is better. But, and this is probably unpopular because most people will disagree with me, but I actually liked the 2010 Nightmare on Elm Street.
That's fair.
I know a lot of people don't like it. I enjoyed it. I see you shaking your head, but I liked it.
I'm going through a tunnel.
I don't know. I something
I don't think
about
we
it.
can be friends anymore.
Oh
I
my
really don't.
god. I mean,
So
No, in all honesty, Jack Earl Haley, who played Freddy in the new one,
he did a good job.
did an amazing job.
I think he was probably the
but-
better part of those movies, or that movie, the remake,
But the issue is when you are going into a role that has so much of the original actor's character in that character, and he makes it iconic, like Freddy Krueger, like Robert Englund is Freddy Krueger. He is iconic as Freddy Krueger. Nobody, I don't care who they are as an actor, Johnny Depp could walk up and try to do that role, and he's not going to do it justice. Because so much of Robert Englund was put into the Freddy character, nobody can do that
technically,
character.
Johnny Depp died in the first one, anyways. You can't make
True.
him become Freddy. That would be weird. It'd be like some weird twist. I don't know.
funny story.
Just don't. As long as they don't have Tim Burton direct it, we're safe.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. But actually, it's funny that Robert Englund, when asked about who he would want to play Freddy next, he picked Kevin Bacon.
I could see that. Dude, Stir of
Kevin Bacon
Echoes.
was killed by-
Stir of Echoes was a great movie.
but that TV
Hey,
show.
but Kevin Bacon was killed by Jason, so that doesn't work either.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, we can't do that.
Hey, and also, if we're really famous actors that were killed in early old school horror movies. Matthew McConaughey was in one of the Chainsaw Massacre movies.
All right.
Was he in the second one or the third one?
Second one.
Because it would have been the early '90s, I believe, around the time of
Yeah,
like
'cause there's
Dazed
a
and
big, there's a big
Confused.
gap between the first and the second one. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. There's a mess of a movie series.
Jennifer Aniston was in Leprechaun.
Yep, the first one. But I don't think she was killed.
Jessica Alba was in Idle Hands.
Wow, I didn't know that.
She was the chick that
Idle
was in the
Hands
Left
was
Across
a
the
great
Road.
movie, by the way.
It is a great movie. It's one of my favorites. Shit, if they redid that movie. You can't beat Seth Green and what's his face from Mighty Ducks? They're the friends that get killed that come back as zombies. And they're like, hey, what's up, man?
Look, okay, so
Okay.
I'm gonna
Oh, okay, so now it's my turn.
Yeah.
Did you finish your 3?
yeah, I got my 3.
my favorite 3 remakes, Evil Dead is the number 1. I love the originals. I love the new one. I love the TV show. I love the comics. Everything that is Evil Dead is always going to be good to me, as far as I've seen so far. The remake of Friday the 13th, the 2009, 2010, whatever version, Jared Padalecki we mentioned, I actually did really like that.
I did too.
And I did like the remake of Child's Play. Even though it was like the thing going on the fritz and stuff. Like,
okay, kick him out of the house.
Get out of my house. You gotta leave.
He's off the
Don't
podcast,
judge
folks.
me. Okay, I'll take that one back. The remake of Last House on the Left. The remake of Last House on the Left.
Oh.
Well, I mean, the dude getting his head blown up in the microwave was pretty cool at the end.
Oh my god.
And Jesse Pinkman from Breaking Bad getting his hand taken off in the...
Here you go.
Okay, I've got a question for you guys.
All right.
And then I'll answer it. What is one film that hasn't had a remake or reboot
that should
in the horror genre that you would like for them to reboot?
Ooh, that's a good one. I already know mine.
All right, go ahead.
American Werewolf in London.
Nice.
Definitely could do good. Oh, this is tough.
I love the American Werewolf in London. Paris.
There's so many that they've done.
Do you guys remember Blood Diner?
I do remember that. Yes.
That was one that terrified me as a kid. It was so fucked up. My mom tried to make me not watch it, but I did. That would be a good remake.
It's tough.
So what? Yeah, it's hard to think what hasn't been remade.
Would you like to hear mine?
Yes.
Yes, actually, yeah.
Sleepaway Camp.
Oh my goodness. Yes. I can't say
especially because of the underlying tones in Sleepaway Camp and the underlying story in that. I think in today's society, it would make that movie 100 times better.
I could see that. Or if they rebooted Leprechaun and had your old roommate.
They did reboot it with Origins and it sucked.
I was gonna say your old roommate and Dorothy's ex could
Oh
play it.
yes,
because he's a
Chris could totally play the Leprechaun. Oh man, because there's so many I'm thinking of that I'm like, but did that get remade? I'm not really sure.
Throw it out and I'll tell you if it got remade or not.
People Under the Stairs.
That was a good one.
Actually,
and they did actually do it. That actually, if you're thinking of the one that was in the 80s,
yeah,
that was a remake.
Was that the one with the black kid that runs into the white people's house and he's running through the walls to try and get away from them from killing him?
Yes, and that is actually a remake from the 60s. So
really?
That is actually a remake.
I got one.
I did not know that.
The Frighteners.
Dude, yes.
With Michael J. Fox?
Yes.
Especially if they brought him back kind of like an Ash Bruce Campbell thing, as like a cameo.
Here's the thing. I don't know if they could do it justice because they don't have anybody that could play Gunny.
God.
Oh, because it'd be hard to replace Arlie Ermy.
Yeah. Because he was literally playing his character from Full Metal Jacket in that film in the graveyard.
I know that's not a horror movie, but my God, I love that movie.
That is actually a great movie. That was one of my favorites from being a kid. Shit, what's another good one that should be remade?
It's hard because the Tommyknockers, I'd be cool with that being redone, or a remake of Christine.
Okay,
Christine remake would be good.
You brought up Tommyknockers. Oh, by the way, they just did a sequel to The Car. You should check that out. It's on Netflix. But talking about Tommyknockers, what are your top 3 Stephen King films?
Does it have to be like direct to...
I already got mine.
Can it be TV too, or like actual theatrical?
Yeah, is it TV or theatrical?
Can be TV too, because technically Tommyknockers wasn't theatrical; it was TV first. So
okay, yeah, I got mine. You can go first, Seth. All
right, Storm of the Century.
Very nice.
The Stand, and It. Shining. Sorry, 4th. There's a 4th in there.
Okay.
I can't make my mind, but And they're redoing The Stand, so that's actually getting
Yeah, it's gonna be a
remade.
television series. I thought of it first. God
Okay,
damn
I'm
it,
gonna
I thought of it
kick
first.
The Stand out of there because they're doing a remake, but it's gonna be, Shining. Shit, what did I say?
Shining.
Storm of the Century.
Storm of the Century.
I
and-
got mine.
Shit, there's so many.
The
Dude,
original
I've-
Pet Cemetery.
I've actually, you know what?
Love that movie.
I've,
Creepy as fuck.
I've read every Stephen King book. I love Stephen King's work, all of it, and even the Skinwalkers, the short stories, like everything. He's really good.
Yeah. So, the original Pet Cemetery. I'm probably gonna go with it because whether it's the book or the miniseries or the movie, I like the way it's told. I just like the story. I wish they actually would go more into it, minus the whole kid orgy thing. But, and then the last one is Stand By Me.
Actually, I forgot about that. That was a really good one.
That's
and
such
Salem's Lot.
Salem's Lot is another good one.
Salem's
Yeah.
Lot was really good.
Okay, so are you ready?
Yeah.
I've actually got 4 of them, but I'm going to save the last one because it's my all-time favorite Stephen King film. So I'll do that one last. But Langoliers,
Ooh.
Thinner,
Ooh.
Wow.
Tommyknockers
Okay.
are the three that I'm going to say. But my all-time favorite, this is one of my favorite films, period. But my all-time favorite Stephen King film is Sometimes They Come Back.
Ooh.
Wow.
That's
Actually, okay,
good.
I'm gonna redo my 3.
It's like, well,
Because
damn.
I just remembered The Mist. I loved The Mist, dude. Thomas Jane he did a great job. I did not see that.
Again, that was a remake. The Thomas Jane one was a remake of the
I
Mist.
know, but okay,
God,
well that's
the
a good
ending of that,
remake.
I won't spoil the
And the
ending,
old
but
one
if
is
you've
good
seen
too.
it, you know how it ends, and it crushes you.
Have you seen the TV show version of it? They brought it back for Netflix.
I didn't watch it. No,
It was actually pretty good.
really.
I liked it, and then they canceled it. But I actually really liked it. I thought it was really, really good. I just did not like one actor in the whole show.
Damn. All right. Well, before we wrap up,
Speaking of, first of all, speaking of shows that they canceled that networks need to be ashamed of themselves, the fact that DC Universe canceled Swamp Thing after 1 season.
Yes,
pisses
Swamp
me
Thing was the
off.
shit, man.
but CW is going to be airing the first season as a series premiere. So does that mean they're going to keep working on the show after that?
I hope that they do because
Because it's premiering.
I loved that they took Swamp Thing back to the original comics, to the darker, grittier.
And it was
Story.
like behind the scenes of like that. The man,
They canceled it after 1 episode.
but they had a whole
like-
season. I've seen the whole
Yeah,
season.
they did. They actually shortened the season from 13 episodes to I think like 10 episodes, and canceled it after episode 1.
Wow,
And it would end up being one of the
What?
better shows.
that DC has put out in forever.
Out at least the DC universe.
It's that was the Swamp Thing was the only reason why I bought DC Universe, and when they canceled it, I got rid of my subscription.
And it's not even going to be a thing soon, anyways. So
And what sucks because I liked Doom Patrol on there. I liked several of the other shows they had on there. I
Well,
liked
what if they
more
do the
Adult
Justice
Teen
League Dark
Titans.
though? If they do the Justice League Dark, that's kind of going the same premise. They might even bring Swamp Thing back for that because he was part of Justice League Dark in the comics.
I hope they do something with him because that's definitely a character that needs more.
And actually,
But
the guy that played the dude that died in the show that became Swamp Thing played Stanley from the newer remake of It, the older version.
yeah,
Like in the part 2, he plays the one that kills himself because he doesn't want to face it again. It's the same guy that plays Swamp Thing.
I can't really think of. Man, there's. I guess if there was a show, and it's not really a horror movie or horror related, but actually Daredevil being canceled after season 3 really pissed me off.
But that was kind of because they were battling for the rights and they wanted it back. But they actually are bringing the same people back, I heard, if they're going to do it again.
I heard that too, but I don't know if it's true. Like, it just sucks, because that story was so good.
Black Mirror.
Good show.
I think, and especially the one that was interactive where you got to choose what happened. I really like that.
Altered Carbon is another good show you guys should check out.
Definitely,
Actually,
definitely.
I liked first season. Second season with Anthony Mackie was not as good.
All right, so before we get out of here, what we'll do is recommendations. One movie you would recommend, like out of any other movie, what would you recommend? And one movie you wish you could take back that you watched that was horror related. I'll start with Jake.
So we have to recommend a horror and take back a horror.
One that you watched that you wish you'd never seen.
Okay.
The one that I wished I'd never seen is the remake of Child's Play.
I mean, all right. Fair.
The one that I would recommend... You know, this is like asking me for what my favorite kid is. Horror movie, like the one that I would recommend that if you are a fan of horror in the slightest, is Perfume: Diary of a Murderer.
Ooh, that's good. That's really
Again,
good.
because it is a lesser known horror film, but it ranks in like top 10 all-time horror films in my opinion.
Oh yeah, it's actually really good. I actually have seen that one.
So,
All right. So for myself, one is a recommendation. One I'll take back, but I'm also gonna put one I forgot to mention earlier that's very underrated. I don't think people. It was a 2000s one, but recommend Nymphomaniac Volume 1. That's really, really good. The one that I would
because he wants you to see William Dafoe get his junk torn up.
dick smashed in. There's a difference. It's not torn up. It's smashed in. Take back. Shit. Probably the remake of The Hills Have Eyes. I did not like it. I didn't think it was that great. And the one that I think is underrated that we forgot to mention, I just want to throw it in there, Disturbia with Shia LaBeouf. I thought that was actually really good.
That's actually not bad. If I could make a recommendation, I would go with The Exorcism of Emily Rose.
Ooh.
Yeah, I love that movie.
Haven't seen that one yet.
Oh,
See, now I've got one that I've got to throw out there for people to look up and check out that I forgot to talk about earlier. Because yours kind of brought to my attention. Rose Red.
yes. Oh my God, I've been thinking that movie's been in my head this whole time. It was just about the television one, right?
No, Rose Red is a prequel to the movie you just said. The one you just said is a prequel to Rose Red.
Okay.
So The Exorcist of Emily Rose is a prequel to Rose Red?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
The Exorcism of Emily Rose is a prequel to Rose Red. But yes, watch Rose Red. It was a made-for-TV film.
It's amazing.
About a house that's haunted, like a mansion that's haunted, and they bring all these people in there to do like this sleep test thing, and it is an amazing film.
Yeah, I won't even talk about it. It's something to watch. Yeah, it's excellent. Great cast. Actually, really good cast. Now, a movie I wish I could take back that I've watched. The Last Exorcism Part 2. I hate that movie.
Scream 3.
Well, maybe Scream 4.
Speaking of Scream, did you guys hear that they're doing a new Scream movie?
Yes, I did.
They are?
I keep
The
hearing
Scream
something about...
cast.
5?
Yeah, and I
It's
keep
the
hearing
fifth?
something about Drew Barrymore reprising her role.
How?
She died.
Unless it's like a flashback, but why would you want to do a flashback?
I didn't hear anything about her, but I heard that Courtney Cox and
David
Neve
Arquette?
Campbell,
Yeah, they're all supposed to reprise their roles, and
they're supposed to reprise their roles in it. So I'm like, I think that'd be pretty cool.
Skeet Ulrich comes back from the dead. Matt Lillard. Oh, God.
you know what?
Oh, 13 Ghosts. 13 Ghosts.
I love
It's
that
amazing.
movie.
Actually, that was a really good movie.
The spot.
You know what?
The jokes in that.
Talking
where
about
nobody
Stu, Matthew Lillard's character, it's never confirmed that he's dead.
Yeah, he just gets a TV smashed on his face.
It's never confirmed.
So he could come back. Possibility.
Now you see Billy dead.
Yeah, Billy died. That's why the mom in the second one came back for revenge.
But they never actually... Yeah, you see the TV and he groans, oh, but you never actually see him dead.
That is
It's
true.
never mentioned. Even when they talk about the sequels, they talk about killing Billy, but they never mention Stu. Just saying.
That's a bit of a cliffhanger.
Just saying.
Plot hole.
I'll leave that out there. So, any last thoughts?
I think I'm good.
All right.
Okay, this isn't horror movie related, but I have a question for you. It is
right.
movie related, but not horror movie related. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Shoot.
So, you know that I went to school for cinematography,
Right.
and that I kind of want to write and direct movies and stuff. So I'm gonna put this out for you, and I'll put this out for your podcast listeners, see what they think. I have an idea for a Crow movie.
Ooh. Hopefully it's not bad, like all the ones after the first.
My idea for this Crow movie is to set it in Civil War times.
Ooh.
But you know
Where
they're
the
actually
Crow-
thinking about doing a Crow movie, and Jason
Yeah.
Momoa's been proposed to.
They've been working on
But,
it for years.
well, they're doing a reboot, but the Crow, I want to call it the Crow Unchained. And the Crow is a slave that is killed
Oh my goodness.
because I want to do the whole. I want to kind of bring the whole voodoo aspect into it, and
Sounds
the
interesting.
yeah.
That's a twist.
So
that
we're
you
gonna
don't...
little teaser out there. That's something that I'm working on right now. So hopefully, possibly, maybe.
Well, when you get that done, let me see.
Because like The Crow was actually probably one of the most influential movies on me as a child.
Oh yeah, I remember
loved
watching that with you guys. Joe loved that movie.
Fucking Brandon Lee, man, it was such a shame what happened to him.
Sadly, I'm a fan. I'm not ashamed to admit this. I'm a fan of all the Crow movies. I've actually liked all the ones they've done so far.
Even with the dude from the second Terminator movie, what's that kid's name?
Even Wicked Prayer when they did with the whole Indian
I
story.
want to talk about Terminator.
Shame on you. And you said
Fuck that movie.
and you criticized me for liking the remake of Child's Play. Shame on you.
Well, first of all, the remake of Child's Play is horrible. Secondly,
I like the premise. Whatever.
I didn't necessarily like
The actor
acting
that played him in the one I was.
I didn't
thinking
like
of.
Edward Furlong's
That's his
acting
name,
in the movie, but the story of Wicked Prayer is amazing. The story of City of Angels, which is
City of
basically
Angels was really good. Plus, I liked that was like the first movie appearance of Deftones. They did it. They were doing a concert below the.
Yeah, I've
Sky
seen them.
Tower.
I've seen them in person. Just saying.
Oh,
but
Deftones?
yes, I feel like all of them in their own right, story wise, were amazing. Again, casting for Wicked Prayer, I could have thought of a couple different actors from different than Edward Furlong. Hell, I would have preferred they had what's his name that played Angel, who played the bad guy in that, actually played the Crow, and Edward Furlong played the bad guy. In all honesty, but you know.
Right. I actually don't mind City of Angels. So that's going to wrap this up for the night. I want to thank my guests for coming on. Seth, thank you very much for joining. I'm sure
Thank
you'll
you.
be back.
Actually, this was really fun. I like talking, so.
Yeah, you too. You guys are actually pretty good at this. Is there anywhere people can find you on social media? Facebook, anything?
Seth Reese Smith on Facebook. I have a Twitter, but I forgot it. And I have an Instagram, but I forgot that too. But I think they're all connected. Somewhere.
Yeah, if you can find his Facebook, you can find his Instagram.
It's like SETHRIE Smith.
He also has an OnlyFans, folks. So
Ooh.
keep an eye out for that.
That's for after hours.
All right, Jake, where can the people find you?
Easily enough, they can find me at Facebook under Jake Capone. They can find me on the Twitter at the Jake Capone, on Instagram at the Jake Capone, and they can find me on PlayStation Network at the Jake Capone. Everything's the Jake Capone, and you can find me. And you can go to, if you want to buy my merchandise, cheap plug here because I know I can do it on a podcast. Cheap plug for my merchandise. You can go to www.jakecapone.com and it'll take you right to my merchandise store. And you can get all my shirt designs on there. I even got some horror shirt designs. So if you're interested in new horror shirt, check it out. And then if you also want to check out my clothing brand that I'm starting to try to push right now, you can go to www.shooterbrandco. That's shooterbrandco.com and check it out. And yeah, there's some awesome shirt designs on there. Everybody should be wearing them. Go buy my merchandise. I have children to feed. Give me money. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. I'm sure we'll get you back on here.
It's nice meeting you, Jake.
So I don't know if this will be a weekly podcast. This will probably be more like a monthly podcast, maybe bi-weekly. So maybe I can get these two yahoos back on here, talk about some more crazy shit. So thank you, everyone.
Or wrestling.
Yeah, I can get you into some wrestling talk.
And maybe next time, I don't know if we're just going to be sound or video. I mean, if we're video, I'm really close to the camera right now. But if we're doing video, yeah, I'm down. We're doing sound, I'm down. If we're doing hand puppets, hit me up.
What was that one?
Sock puppets. I want to do some sock puppets with no hands.
Oh, and check out my podcast on, if you're a fan of wrestling, check out my podcast on iTunes. It's the Final Bell Wrestling Podcast.
Check it out. I will put all those links down in the description below so you guys can find all of his awesome shit. You still doing the, I don't know, we'll talk about it after we're done. I'll see what else you got going. So, all right, that's it. Thank you guys for coming, watching this video. Hit that like button, like, share, subscribe to the channel. Go to his YouTube channel, subscribe to that. You still have your YouTube channel, I'm guessing.
Yes,
right?
It's also the Jake Capone.
Yeah, that is already linked.
I try to make it easy for everybody.
So, thank you guys. Remember, be kind to each other, stay healthy, and join the nation. I'll talk at you all later. Peace out.